Yeah.
Namo Narayana.
And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda commences tonight's satsang with a Sanskrit peace chant.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We begin with a mystic song by Sri Swami Lalitananda, played and sung by Sri Swami Umananda and Rajneesh.
We dedicate this song tonight to Sri Swami Lalitananda. Our song is O Goddess Lakshmi, Abide in My House. And today on February 17th, we honor the day in 2013 of Swami L's passage into Mahasamadhi. This was always one of her most favorite songs, and so we offer it to her tonight with all our love and respect. O Goddess Lakshmi, abide in my house.
Let me Like a silver star, you shine. Secretly, you watch from above. Give me a drop of heaven. Let the pearls of wisdom fall. Oh, divine brother, here I am, cold and hungry in raging sea. In a world of time and space, give me the cup of immortality. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. I implore you, O Goddess Lakshmi, abide in my house forevermore. We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is February the 17th, 2021, Wednesday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on the Yoga Vasistha. This is series 2018, class number 315. And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadi Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adoration Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha Nirvana Prakarana Purvardha. And we are dealing with section 55. Sage Vasistha is imparting wisdom of the Gita to Sri Rama. Wisdom is just wisdom. Wisdom is one and the same, whether it comes from the Vedas, Puranas, Itihasas, or from all religions of the world. If you don't understand it, you are dumb. Just as the wind blows, it blows on, carrying the fragrance of a flower. So the soul continues to journey through the world process, carrying the fragrance of karma from one embodiment to another. Simple points are being presented to you. Firstly, every soul, every individual faces death. But death is for the body, not for the soul. Vasans jirnani yatha vihaya. Just like you throw off old clothes, put on new ones. Similarly, you go on putting on new clothes. But then who are you? That soul that survives death, birth and death, is led by karma. And karma is like the wind. Wind carries smell, good smell, bad smell. But wind itself is not restricted by smell. The wind throws away these bad, foul and fragrant and moves on. Soul, in its essential nature, is untouched by karmas. But due to ignorance, soul continues to experience cycle of birth and death. This physical body is a result of intensification of the vasanas. When the vasanas are rendered subtle, this identification with the body is slackened, and the soul discovers itself as the bodiless self. So how long soul will be involved in the cycle of birth and death? As long as soul is gripped by klishta vasana. And this is the main topic at this stage. Vasanas are subconscious, subtle desires. The root of the vasanas are samskaras. Just as a magician might appear to travel in the sky on a magical rope, so the soul, carrying the burden of illusion, travels through the illusory expansion of the world process. All the experience of the world process is like a dream experience. All the ordinary allegorical expression is like a magician who out of magic allows people to see himself going up. But all the time he is where he is. But all those who are under magical spell, they see what magician wants them to see. Excuse me. With the subsiding of the wind, there is calmness in the atmosphere. In the same way, with the departure of the pranas, the body dies. However, the soul, the essence of all that exists, and the substratum of dead body continues to exist as a non-dual Brahman. Try to understand the role of the soul. The jiva exists as long as thought waves of your mind are continuing to project the world process. World process is experienced as a projection of the chitta. An entire projection is illusory. The reality behind projection is the screen. And the screen is pure awareness. This is what we again and again bring, the subtle understanding that all your experiences are bhava pratyaya, presence of projection. No matter what you are experiencing, chitta is projecting it. Put it in a more limited way. All your experiences are through your iPad, the ego pad. and through your brain and nervous system. Brain and nervous system is your computer, a website. How long can you stay entertained by this website? And all that you see and experience through this nervous system of the present nervous system, all that is a passing phenomenon. But while all this goes on passing, the substratum, pratyaya bhav, where pratyaya, projection, is no longer present, that is Brahman. The Brahman is the reality, absolute reality, Param Satya. While dead or alive, the body is seen due to mental illusion. You see the difference between body and subtle elements that go to compose the body. But the idea that body is solid reality and behind the body there is subtle elements, all that is again a mental projection. To put it in a very brief way, the idea I am the body is nowhere within your body. It is coming through your brain. And it is nowhere in your brain either. It is beyond. The I am is the screen, termed as Brahman, the Absolute. And that's the reality of your I am. Ego I am is illusory. So the incarnating soul, Jiva, continues to exist in the realm of illusion, experiencing the subtle joys of and miseries of heaven and hell. As a Jiva, as a soul, led by karma, you continue to experience pleasure and pain. And that's called life, human life. It is not constant pleasure, it is not constant pain. And again, as long as you are embodied, living in the body, heaven and hell that you experience are not of intense nature. Every prosperity is a breath of heaven. Every adversity is a breath of hell. One is onion smell. Another is sandalwood smell. But these smells come and go. In embodied state, while you are alive, you have a little blessing. Both experiences of pleasure and pain are restricted because of your nervous system. You can experience thrill, elation, but only to a certain degree. Beyond that, your body will become unconscious. That's the way limitation has been imposed. Similarly, pain, sorrow, misery, that also has its limitation. You can have pain, but beyond a certain degree of pain, you will become unconscious. So as long as you are alive, this is the role of heaven and hell in your personality. But when you are not alive, waiting to be reborn, in that condition of between death and rebirth, there comes a state where physical body is not there. Now your experience of pleasure has no limit. Is limited only by your karma. The type of heaven you will enjoy depends upon your heavenly karma. But in that experience, there is no limit. Similarly, experience of misery, pain, terrifying condition is limited as long as you are alive. Beyond a certain degree of terror, you will pass on. Pass on means faint away. But now, without a body, you don't pass on. You pass on to hellish fires, more and more. In deep sleep, you are unaware of the body. In the same way, continue to see yourself as the self, devoid of the illusion of this physical body. Now what you are being led to a deeper understanding. In deep sleep state, all about this world moves away. No past, no present, no future. No egoism. And there is no loss to you. Your mind never views what a terrible predicament it is to go to sleep. All this wonderful world, when news go on breaking, and all the things that delight your mind, they suddenly disappear. And you enjoy it. And you wake up with a bright face. What a wonderful sleep. Knew nothing. This point has to be brought into your mind, led by your mantra, your prayer, your sadhana, and surrender. You can come to the same sleep state in a positive way, positive counterpart of sleep in your daily life. But that will require all this I have mentioned. Your sadhana movement. Even while problems continue, you train your mind. I will do japa. I will do prayer. Even though confusions occur in the world, you allow your mind to practice affirmation, calming your mind, and you allow a positive movement to enter, that God is within me. He is shining in the lotus of my heart. All the sentiments have become tender petals, and I am no longer under the grip of birth and death. I am Satchidananda, existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. I am Brahman. So all this affirmation is leading you to develop that state of spiritual understanding that becomes stable, a deep-rooted understanding, just like you enjoy going to sleep, you enjoy going to samadhi, and your enjoyment becomes so vast, and your samadhi state takes your personality. Even in your daily life, though performing actions, at deeper level, you are enjoying deep, deep sleep. This point you have to understand is the allegorical language. And this becomes secure. You are sthita prajna. Thus you will be beyond birth and death. Whatever is non-existent in the beginning and in the end is also non-existent in the middle. Simple point to understand. Your mind cannot think of any beginning that is stable. When the mind uses logic, in the beginning was God. Well, and you tell this to your kid. And kid says, but who was the father of that God? You cannot imagine absolute beginning. At the same time, everything that presents itself to your mind has an end. But in this world process, things seem unending. Things seem like without beginning, without end. The world predicament is beyond description. In brief, this world process is indescribable. In the beginning, in the end, in the middle. It is illusory always. Its existence is perceived due to mental illusion. Therefore, allow your mind to flow towards the truth of the self. You have to become persistent towards discovering the truth. This is the real meaning of satyagraha. You are constantly led by asatya. Asatya means falsehood. Now you have to create persistent effort to assert satya, truth. In spite of all the challenges, allow your mind to assert, I am Brahman, and allow your intellect to understand it. In brief, allow your life to flow along the line of integral yoga. Though conditioned by karmas, it is possible for the soul to uncondition itself by exercising the self-effort. The role of purushartha. And by self-effort is implied integral yoga. The highlight of integral yoga is jnana. Are you succeeding in your integral process? The answer would be, are you understanding? Who am I? That's the test of your success in integral yoga. Your I am status. If that is being well understood in your heart level, then you are succeeding in the practice of integral yoga. And therefore, highlight Vedantic sadhana in your daily life. And sadhana consists in listening, reflection, meditation. Shravana, manana, nididhyasana. Listen to the teachings. And then, along with listening, try to reflect. The teaching should not stay in verbal level, only in palabras, but try to enter into deeper understanding. See a change occur in your feeling. See a change occur in your understanding. Simple illustration is, look at the animals, they eat up fast and then they start chewing cud. When you listen, eat up fast. But do not let them go away through the other ear. Hold it in your throat. And while you are in another stage of your activity, continue to reflect upon what you have listened to and try to authenticate it by your own self. Yes, I understand it. Yes, therefore, I'm going to change. I will be calm. I will be forgiving. I will not be led by kama, krodha, lobha, all malas. So as you develop that type of internal resolve with a clearer understanding of what your goal is, that we are practicing manana in a profounder way. Shavana removes sanshaya bhavana, the mind that is constantly doubtful in regard to its spiritual values. That doubting movement begins to dissolve as you allow your ears to listen to spiritual teachings. It is a profound blessing of God that you get the opportunity of satsanga and thereby to listen to scriptural teachings. And as listening goes on, another aspect of your mind, you go on reflecting. The first obstacle, doubting mind, is being corrected. Second obstacle, a sense of impossibility is there in your heart because in a conditioned mind, you cannot mathematically evaluate your progress. So when you begin to think of how long will it take for me to attain enlightenment, immediately your mind becomes clever and it starts stretching before you how many karmas you have done. And so ultimately you come to conclusion, you can get rid of 6 or 7 karmas of 6 or 7 embodiments, but you have to go on incarnating because it is an inexhaustible task. Well, then it is impossible to attain liberation. It's called asambhavana. And the term meditation here is called nididhyasan in Vedanta. It is not simply just keeping the mind focused on an object, but mind is flowing with a thoughtful insight. Uninterruptedly. If that happens, then there is a revelation of who am I. Nididhyasana removes viparita bhavana. To make this point clear, use a simple simile of mirror. You are seeing your face in a mirror. How does your mind describe it? You have mirror in your hand, and someone asks you, what are you seeing? You say, I'm seeing my face. But you are lying. Lying to yourself, as well as to others. You are looking at mirror. You are not looking at face. If at all you are looking as a reflection, first thing you are seeing is the mirror. First thing that's real in your personality is awareness. But the contents of awareness, they are reflections. So this type of subtle insight of seeing the difference between truths and untruths. That's the result of nididhyasa. In other words, viveka buddhi becomes exceedingly in a blossoming state, and it results in revelation. Aham Brahmasmi. That's called sakshatkar. So we use 4 terms: shravan, manan, nididhyasan, and sakshatkar. These need to be understood. Your understanding comes in a progressive way. And they are not in a sequence that after you have transcended this stage of listening, you simply are mananing, doing manana. Or you have completed manana, you are just doing nididhyasana. And then you are suddenly attaining revelation. No, all these 4 begin to operate in your personality in different degrees. So by this type of practice, vasanas are weakened and destroyed. Again, just to remind you, when we talk about the whole topic of vasana, first thing you have to understand, Shubha vasana, Ashubha vasana. More Sanskrit, better terms, Aklishta vasana, Klishta vasana. Klishta vasana is the source of trouble. And Klishta means 5 kleshas: ignorance, egoism, attachment, hatred, and fear of death. These 5 types of negative impact on your consciousness. In other words, your mind entertains ignorance in so many areas. Thereby you are creating impressions of ignorance in your personality. Your mind highlights your ego, asmita. Your mind highlights raga, things that you love, and how can you cure them. Your mind highlights things that are painful to you, how to avoid them, how to turn against them. Woven by the threads of raga and dvesha, your body identity becomes intense, and there is a fear of losing body. So the mind is constantly gripped by these 5 points, things to shut out, throw it in ignorance, put the balming effect on your egoism. Ego is inflated. Constant raga, think of things that you love and you constantly enjoy seeing them. Things of dvesha, constant challenge, how to turn away from those whom you hate, or how to handle that situation. And worst of all, mortality virus. All the viruses you can somehow handle. But Nobody has yet got a remedy for mortality. And that remedy lies in your, by attaining self-realization. But these samskaras grip your mental capacity. And they exist in 5 states. In children, prasupta, dormant. Aspirants who have practiced sadhana in a sattvic atmosphere, they come into attenuated state, tanu avastha. But attenuated state is like putting a snake in a refrigerator. Becomes so harmless that put on your neck and becomes a garland. So, the defects of your personality are there, but they become harmless. The anger, greed, hate, pride, all these have not been sublimated, but they have been reduced to such an extent that they seem harmless. That state is called tanu avastha. Next state is vichinna, overpowered state. Here is like impurities of your mind. You will develop the capacity of hiding your impurities and highlighting the purities. Simple illustration I give. You invite people for a celebration and you don't have time to do proper cleansing of your house. So throw the dust and bacteria under the rug. And that causes much trouble, especially in these days. So that state is called vichinna. You have impurities not sublimated, but you have the ability to hide them. Then there is a state where you can't hide anything because your intellect is dull. You don't even know that it is an impurity. Only when you know it is impurity, then you hide it. People who are constantly full of temper and anger, they don't even know that it is a negative trait. So that's called udar. These states are not in sequence. The same mind, same day, can experience all these states in different degrees. But what is predominating, that becomes the characteristic of your mind. The goal behind it is dagdha state. Let the kleshas be burnt up by tattva jnana, knowledge of the self. When you have attained enlightenment, then ignorance itself is destroyed. Along with ignorance, egoism. Your ego is no longer egoism. Your ego becomes involved with three-aspected view. Deha buddhya to dasoham. From the point of view of the body, I am a slave, God is the master. Jiva buddhya tadanshaka. From the point of the soul, I am a ray, God is like the sun. And from innermost point of view, from the point of view of the innermost self, I am that, I am Brahman. So that's what happens to your ego. Your raga, attachment, stays with God. God, and God is your essential nature. So raga leads you to the revelation. All becomes dear because of the self. And dvesha leads you to neti, not this, negating the entire world. And abhinivesha, fear of death, turns into sense of immortality. So this is the transition between from Ashubha Vasana to Shubha Vasana. And to the extent you make this transition, you have advanced on the spiritual path. And with this I will conclude for now. Om. Om. Ram, 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 Ram. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Prayer for shower of Karunamaya Ras grace of God over all of you, with the blessings of Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukuva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyama Mritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukh Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Does anyone have a question? Sri Ram.
Pranam Gurudev. Gurudev, you described that the karmas after the death, between the death and reincarnation, if they are negative, they can lead to unending experience of negativity without any protection, limitation of the body or the nervous system. But at the same time, you have it is stated that the jiva never is destroyed or abandoned. So what is the path of recovery for that jiva?
Not to go to heaven or to hell. Not to stay with karma. As long as you are limited by karma, led by karma, you will have both experience of a life, embodied life, and then experience of transition after life, death. But death gives you a little period of transition from this life to another life, from this embodiment to another embodiment. Between two embodiments, that interval is pure at mental level. And that's where role of heaven or hell comes in. While you are in pure mental level, are you joyous or are you full of pain? Both are possible depending upon what type of karma is highlighted after your death. If negative karma is highlighted, you are experiencing intense suffering that you can easily understand. People who are not well equipped with spirituality, how do they face their old age? With increasing fear, with increasing negativity. On the other hand, those who are equipped with spiritual practices in life and they have grown up aging with spiritual samskaras, how do they face their old age? Increasing devotion, increasing surrender. So you can give you a little sniff of a hellward movement and heavenward movement. Okay.
Gurudev, one more question. You described that a success in the path of Satyagraha was understanding I am status at your heart level.
Understanding that ultimately it's truth that will triumph. So why don't you pursue the truth to the extent you know it? At every step, even if you are frustrated in your attempt, do not be defeated. Persist again. Agraha means do it again and again and again. That unending. That's called Satyagraha. And that was illustrated by Mahatma Gandhi. But that's in a different plane. Basic moral behind it, being positive, being good, moving Godward, this is Satyagraha. In spite of challenges, continue unendingly. Because where there is truth, there is victory.
Gurudev, what do you mean when you say examine the I am status at the heart level?
I am status at the heart level means, is it egoism that dominates your heart? Or pure I am? Egoism doesn't dominate your heart even when you go to sleep. In deep sleep, your egoism moves away, but not completely. But that can give you an idea how it would be if egoism doesn't dominate your heart. That means you will face all challenges, you will be apparently you will be painful, you will have misery, you have joy, you have sorrow, but in your heart level, you are free. You are like the sky. Clouds will come and go. The sky level is completely untouched. That's
Thank you, Gurudev, very much.
okay.
Please make a mental note that Sunday's lecture schedule has changed, and from now on, the lectures will be at 7:30 rather than 5:30 every Sunday. And we conclude.
Om Shri